Okay, so very good evening to everyone. So let's wait for a minute or two and then we will start. Very good evening, everyone. We are live. If you're able to hear me, just please confirm me in the chat. So let's wait for a minute or two. Yeah, very good evening. Abid, Arunachalam, Ashwani, I'm good. Bhupender, Elamathu, Harish, Harsh, Lakpati, Mithun Singh, Nilesh, Prakash, Rakesh, Rohit, Sachin. Yes, Ravinder, I'm good, man. Rohit, Sachin, Senthil, Suman, Vishwas, Pavan, Mohan, Rakesh, Madhechar. Okay, yeah. Good evening, everyone. So let's wait for a minute or two and then we will start. Okay. I hope all of you are doing well. Okay, great. So how are you? I hope all of you doing. Yeah, good evening, Ahmad. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, so let's wait for a minute and then we will start. Okay. I hope all of you are doing well. Yes, very good evening, Rakesh, Ravinder. I'm good. Abid. Yeah, same. Good to hear you. Okay, so great. So today, we are will be covering very special topic. So what is that? What we are exactly we're going to cover today. Today we are going to cover this very important topic. What is this topic all about? Like how to become a master in non-conformity writing. And what is that we are going to cover today? We will be covering like how you can write better non-conformity, right? And कैसे हम जो है एक अच्छी और बेहतर एक नॉन कन्फर्मिटी लिख सकते हैं. Why it is important to write better non-conformity? Because if you see like in any of the audit, what's the importance of what is very important, right? What is important? Like what is important in the auditing skills? When you talk about auditing skills, what is auditing skills? So auditing skills are where you can identify the gaps, right? You can identify the gaps. You identify the gaps, right? And not only you identify the gaps, because you help your organization to identify the gaps and help your organization to like make your QMS strong, or whatever it is. It may be QMS, maybe your environment management system, maybe your occupational health and safety management system. So if you have good auditing skills, that will actually help you in bridging that gap. If you see one thing, like agar aap ek cheez dekho, you get you get certified by CB, right? A certification body, and certification body certify your organization. Okay, and then they will come every year. Okay, the first year they will come. You will have different stage of audit, stage 1 and stage 2. Okay, and then second year they will come. They'll come on this third year, right? And now you tell me this one thing. आप मुझे एक चीज बताइए. How exactly you can upgrade your system? Is that only certification body people can help you to upgrade your system? How exactly how you can upgrade your system? How you can make your system strong? How you can make your system strong? What is that you can do? कैसे आप अपना system strong कर सकते हो? If I ask you in your organization how you can make your quality management system strong, what is that you can do? Can you write one thing, one important thing to make your system strong? What is that one thing? Absolutely, yes, Akshay, you need to identify gaps. Senthil, absolutely, by performing periodic audit at regular interval. Yes, management commitment has to be there. By if management review need to be conducted at regular interval, absolutely, yes, you are right. Yes, by identifying the gaps, Harsh, absolutely, you're right. What else you can do? See, yes, many of you are, what you are telling is 100% right. Absolutely. What you can do to identify how you can make your system strong? You can only make your system strong when you have good, you have this eye to see I to C like abnormality. Right? When I say I to C abnormality, that means when your company has this I to C abnormality, what does it mean? When your organization can identify the gaps, right? When your organization can identify the like improvements, when your organization have a strong internal audit system and strong internal audit system, that's how like you can make your system stronger, and that's how you can improve your quality management system. If you have strong internal audit mechanism, right? If you have strong internal auditor, if you have competent internal auditor, that's how like you can improve and upgrade your quality management system, right? So it's very, very important. So for that reason, what you need to have effective, like how can you have effective internal audit mechanism, internal audit system in place? How can you have effective internal audit mechanism in your organization? How can you have internal audit system? When you have competent competent auditors, like at least competent internal auditors. And when I say competent internal auditors, one thing which is very, very important is this: what they write. When they do internal audits, what they write. When they do internal audit, what they need to write? They need to write the non-conformity, right? So most of the time, when we see that this is a gap where internal auditors are not competent, even they might be certified, like they might be certified, but they are not competent in writing non-conformity. They don't know how to write the non-conformity structure. What should be the structure of non-conformity? Because their non-conformity is actually read by auditors. Their non-conformity is actually read by the management. Okay, so it is very, very important that if they know what is the structure of a non-conformity, how to write non-conformity, and they need to follow the structure, because their non-conformity need to be acted upon by auditee or the process owner. So it is very, very important that you must be aware about as a as a personal who want to improve your quality management system in your organization. Okay, so this is what we are going to focus upon. This is what we are going to talk about. This is what we are going to focus today, right? Okay, so friends, are you ready for this? Just type ready if you are ready to learn this methodology, and this is something like definitely which will be helpful for you. Just write ready in the comment if you're ready. Yeah. Okay. So before we proceed, I want to know, thank you very much. I can see ready, ready, ready. That's really good. Thank you very much. Before we proceed, I would like to know this one thing, like, yeah, thank you very much. Before we proceed, I want to know how many of you are coming for the first time? How many of you are coming? If you're coming for the first time, just write FT. FT first time. If you're coming for the first time, you can write FT in the comments, so I know you are coming for the first time. Okay, okay, great. So many of you are coming for the first time. It's okay. So not an issue. Like, let me, friends, give a very short introduction, because many of you are coming for the first time. So let me give a small introduction of myself. Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome all the members who are coming for the first time, and those who are already part of community. Welcome them back. Right. And those who are coming repeatedly, thank you very much. So, who are my friends? Let me give a small introduction. I'm Arun Sharma. I'm father of 2 lovely kids and husband of a super caring woman. So basically, friends, I'm an engineer turned quality professional turned corporate trainer, and presently I'm founder of SubMastery. So SubMastery is helping working professionals in enhancing their employability skills through various online certification courses, wherein we are helping working professionals to upgrade their knowledge and competence so that they can get a higher salary, they can get respect and appreciation at the workplace. SubMastery has 15,000 learners and more than 1,500 plus paid members in the community. In totality, I have 18 years of experience, and I got opportunity to train 1,200 plus, deliver 1,200 plus live training program, and has got this opportunity to train 25,000 plus working professional, right? And a short about me, I also I worked with a consulting firm, Imperial Group, Faridabad based group. I worked with Imperial Auto as a deputy management representative. I worked with Minda Group in the they are like corporate in the head office in their Panthnagar Uttarakhand plant, in their Manesar plant, and I was like management representative. I looked after quality assurance, quality system, manufacturing excellence, customer complaint handling. I handle all that stuff. And I was also co-founder of a training company, and this is my second startup, which I launched in 2017, and 2019 we shifted to online. Okay, so we have like members from all across the India and even from different parts of the world. So I have hands-on experience in implementation of IITF in 31 plus companies. So it's not like a theoretical experience. I also have hands-on experience. I also have hands-on experience on implementation of environment management system ISO 45001 and delivering like 1200 plus live uh, training program for 25,000 plus working professionals. So these are some of the testimonials which I got from different industry regarding my IITF exposure, regarding my like trainings. Okay, these are some of the testimonials which I got from different corporates, right? Great. We also have an app which is available. This app is available in Android. This app is available in iOS. So you can also download our app. The name of the app is SubMastery, right? जो हमारी app का नाम है वो SubMastery है, and you can also download our app. This app is also available in iOS. This app is also available in Play Store. Okay, you can download our app from the iOS app and also from the Android. Okay, great. So I will answer you any question at the end, right? So आपकी कोई भी question होंगे, I'll be answering at the end. So today's agenda, as we discussed, what's today's agenda? So today we are going to talk about the non-conformity. आज हम बात करने वाले हैं किसके बारे में? Non-conformity. Okay, yeah. Abid, let me like I'll answer any question at the end. Okay. So yes. So friends, I want one like I also want to share one thing with you. At the end, is it okay? Is it okay? Like I'll give you like 1 hour program, and I'll talk about what is non-conformity, what is difference between major, minor, non-conformity. I will talk about like I'll also share the case study, how to write the non-conformity and become like competent in that. At the end of this, like we are running multiple batches, we have multiple courses. Of course, these are paid courses. Is it okay that at the end of this program, somewhere around 9:15, if I share about my like paid program, just said yes if you are okay, and it's optional, it's 100% optional, it's totally okay if you don't want to participate in that. But is it okay that at the end of this program I also share about my paid offering, about our new batch for SubMastery community? Is it okay? Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks a lot for your permission. So at the end I will talk about that, maybe around 9:05, 9:10. Okay, and it's totally optional, so it's 100% optional. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get into this very, very important topic. What is this topic is all about? Like this is very, very important. So we'll talk about like what is non-conformity. Okay, so we see what is non-conformity. So when we say non-conformity is something which is not as per standard requirement, which is not as per standard requirement. So when we say standard requirement, then what do we mean? Do we only mean something which is not as per standard requirement, or something which is not as per what? It could be like not as per standard requirement, not as per organization requirement, not as per customer specific requirement, right? And not as per what? Not as per legal requirement, right? Yeah. So one thing which we should understand, एक चीज जो हमें समझने की आवश्यकता है, the one thing which we should understand that non-conformity can be given against any of these. Non-conformity can be given against any of these. That means non-conformity can be given against standard requirements. So when I say standard requirements, it could be like your ISO 9001 standard, it could be your automotive supply chain standard, it could be your environment, health and safety like standard, or it could be any other standard. So these are like multiple, and there may be, there are thousands of other standards. So non-conformity can be given against the standard, absolutely stated requirements, One thing which we should also understand, the non-conformity can also be given against organization requirement. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that, let's say that you have identified in your SOP something which is not there in the standard. You have identified, you have mentioned something in your SOP, some requirement in your SOP, which is given by your corporate, which is added by your organization, but that requirement is not added, not there in the standard requirement. Can the non-conformity be given? If a non-conformity can be given by auditor, yes or no? Do write in the chat. I'm again repeating. I want to let's keep it interactive, because if we keep it interactive, that's where you learn and that's where you give more attention. My question is, in SOP, standard operating procedure, your organization has added some requirement which is not there in the main standard, which is not a requirement of main standard. Let me give an example. For example, layout inspection. Layout is, for example, this, let's say let me give an example. For example, layered audit, layered procedure audit. So in the IATF or in the quality management system, you have there's a a talk about, and there is a requirement about procedure audit, but there is no requirement about layered procedure audit. You need to do procedure audit, but this layered procedure audit. Layered procedure audit means that different set of people, different level of people, like level 1, level 2, level 3, like these kind of people, when they do procedure audit, it is called layered procedure audit. So layered means different level of people. Let's say your operator, your engineer, your head of department, maybe your plant head, when they do the audit, like that we say is the layered procedure audit. So if you see, some of you might be aware, some of you might not be aware, it's totally okay. Layered procedure audit requirement is there in the automotive supply chain standard, but layered procedure audit requirement, this word layered is not there. So if your organization say that we will do layered procedure audit, but it is not mentioned in the standard requirement, so can you get non-conformity? The answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. So that means if you mention something in your SOP, right? If you add something in your SOP, even if that is not there in your standard, still there are possibilities that you might get the non-conformity. We're not talking about major, minor, we're not talking about that, but yes, you can get non-conformity, right? So the audit, the non-conformity can be given against standard requirement, organization requirement, and of course, it is also given against customer specific requirement. Now, what do you mean by customer specific requirement? What do you mean by CSR? So customer specific requirements are the requirements which are specific given by the customer, which are additional requirements with respect to IATF standard. So customer specific requirements are the additional requirements which are there with respect to IATF standard. Let's say the customer specific requirements talk about, and which is generally given in their customer manual and customer supplier quality manual. Let's say that customers say that you need to keep whatever the, let's say you do layout audit, layout inspection. Okay. On the sample on which layout inspection is carried out, that sample, you need to keep it till next layout inspection. Next layout inspection, you need to keep the retention of sample, retention of those sample on which the 100% inspection is carried out. You need to keep that sample until the next layout inspection. So layout inspection means 100% inspection as per drawing. Okay. And this layout inspection storage, layout inspection retention requirement is not given in the IATF standard or any other like QMS standard, it is given, given by the, it might be given by the customer. Like for example, Honda says that you need to retain the sample on which layout inspection is carried out till the next layout inspection period. Let's say you have yearly frequency, so you will keep that sample for a year, right? In the similar way, customer, there are tons of different, there may be different customer specific requirements. So yes, the non-conformity can be given against customer specific requirement. And last, of course, the non-conformity can also be given against legal requirements. So there are, let's say, some specific legal requirements regarding your product, in the market. It could be regarding emission. It could be regarding use of some restricted hazardous substance. Yes, the non-conformity can be given against that. Okay. So if you see, a non-conformity means that something which is, a non-conformity means that which is not as per any requirements, which is not as per the standard requirement or the organization requirements or the customer specific requirements or the legal requirements. One thing which is very, very important to understand, let's say, especially in automotive supply chain standard, one thing which is very, very important to understand is this. Let's say that something which is mentioned in the, something which is required, mandatory required in the, let's say there is some SOP. There is some SOP. There's a like a standard requirements, right? You are, let me rub this, right? And then I will, let's say standard says that you need to mention that requirement, mention that requirement in the SOP. Standard says that you need to mention that requirement in the SOP. Let's say, for example, if you see automotive supply chain standard, which is IATF 16949, it says that you need to have, number of different mandatory standard operating procedure or number of different SOP. Now they are called basically documented process. Okay. Let's say you need to have mandatory SOP for Pokayoke, error proofing. You need to have mandatory process for warranty or problem solving, right? Or for let's say for product safety, right? Now, listen very, very carefully. Listen very, very carefully. What happened? Like, let's say standard says that you need to have SOP, standard operating procedure. But if you don't have SOP, if you do not have SOP itself, right? So what will happen? Against the standard requirements, So what will happen? Then you might get NC, that in your documentation itself, that your documentation itself is complete. That means you have not made the SOP itself. So you can also get, non-conformity on your standard operating procedure, that your SOPs itself is not available. So what could be that? Let's say your SOP is not evidenced, not available. It could be that it is like some requirements missed out. Let's say some of the requirement which is mentioned in the standard is missed out, is not complete, or is partially effective, right? Or is not made itself, or there may be some issues in that. Okay. So one thing which is very, very important is this: you must be aware about what are the requirements, what are the mandatory standard operating procedure. And in IATF, especially if I talk about like in 9001, basically, it's they have made it not, they have actually made have not made this compulsory. They have kept that flexibility. But in case of IATF 16949, there are 21 mandatory SOP. How many? 21 mandatory SOP. 21 places where they have mentioned about that DP word, documented process word. Some of you are new, some of you are coming for the first time. Would you like to see what are those 21? Would you like to see? Just write yes if you want to see those list of 21. You can take the screenshot. Yeah, you can take the screenshot. If you want to see the list of 21 mandatory places where, yeah, okay, so I'm going to share with you. Just have a look at this. So I'll be sharing with you. Okay. So what all places, if you see the, yeah, so I hope my screen is visible. Yes, these are the mandatory documentation requirement. If you see, there are 21 places, 21 places where this word like documented process is written. So when we say DP, that means basically SOP itself, right? So now the word which is used is basically as instead of SOP, they are using DP, which is same, like 21 places where documented process is written. That's a minimum, right? Before in ISO TS, there were like 7 places in the TS, but ISO TS is no more applicable in this world. ISO TS 16949 2009 is no more applicable. So it's dead, right? It's dead. So there like 7 places they have written, and it was easy to remember. The easy to remember was Dr. C. Pant. You remember this? It was easy, right? In the old TS, Dr. C. Pant. What is that? D, document. R, record. C, corrective action. Okay, and P, preventive action. Okay, and then you have this A, okay, audit. Okay, N, control of non-conforming product. Now it is called output, non-conforming product. And then T, training. So if you see, before there were 7 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But how many? Now there are 21. 21 does not mean that you need to have separate 21 SOP. 21 does not mean that you need to have like separate 21. 21 means that your company might have 10, 50, 100 SOP, but the requirement of these 21 must be addressed. Okay, so which are these 21 in quality management system, especially when it comes to automotive supply chain standard, which is ISO IATF 16949. So these are the places. Here it is, right? We can see on your screen, right? What are these? Product safety, calibration, competence, internal audit, employee motivation, engineering specification, design and development, special characteristics, supplier selection, type and extent of control. Okay, 10. And then yes, we have more. What are these? Here it is. Legal requirements, supplier monitoring, control of change, temporary change, rework, repair, non-conforming product, internal audit, problem solving, error proofing, continual improvements. These are 21. So 21 does not mean you need like separate 21 SOP. The requirement of these 21 might be there in your respective standard operating procedure. You might have 10, 50, 100. आपके 10, 20, 50 SOP हो सकती हैं, but the requirement of these must be addressed. Otherwise, that will be a non-conformity. If you don't do that, that will be a non-conformity. Okay. And based on my experience of implementing IATF in 31 different organizations, these are non-mandatory. When I say non-mandatory, that means that based on my experience of interacting with different auditors and different certification body, these are additional 21 for which you may not get non-conformity, but this is expected. What are these? Context of the organization, need and expectation, risk analysis, laboratory requirement, second party audit, total predictive maintenance, tooling management, incoming inspection, customer satisfaction, management review, warranty management. So these are 10 additional, right? Okay. So these are the list of mandatory and non-mandatory, like documented process or SOP. Great. Okay. So now what we are going to talk is very, very important chapter. We are going to talk about like now we have until now what we have discussed is how the non-conformity, what area non-conformity can be given. Like this is what we have discussed. What area non-conformity can be given. Now we are going to talk about like what are the different types of non-conformity. What are different types of non-conformity? This is what we are going to talk about. So There are different types of non-conformity which might be given in the internal audit and in the external audit. So if you see internal audit, that means audit within the organization. In the external audit is the audit which is generally like a third party audit, and it's audit which is carried out by the CB, that means a certification body. So if you see like this, the classification of non-conformity, different types of non-conformity, or we say classification of non-conformity, there is a generic acceptable classification of non-conformity. Okay. And although it is not mandatory, is it mandatory that you should classify audit into non-conformity into major, minor, opportunity for improvement? The answer is no, it's not mandatory, but that's the like a generic practice. However, in your internal audit, it's not mandatory to classify audit into major, minor. If you mention in your SOP that we will not classify, it's totally okay. Auditor cannot like object if you classify. Although there are some advantage and disadvantage of doing that, basically, which we actually discuss in our internal auditor training program for IITF. But as of now, we can understand that yes, there are different types of non-conformity. What are these? Major and minor generally. And then we have one category which is called opportunity for improvement. Okay. Now let's understand, when we say major and minor non-conformity, what's the difference between these two? So if you talk about major non-conformity, what do you mean by major non-conformity? A major non-conformity will result into a complete failure of QMS or quality management system, complete failure of systems, right? That is what we say is a major non-conformity. A major non-conformity will result into a customer dissatisfaction. A major non-conformity will result into a non-compliance to legal requirements, right? So when we say major non-conformity, it's a complete failure of the system. It can result into a customer complaints or customer dissatisfaction, and which can result into a non-compliance to a legal requirement. That's what we say major non-conformity. When we say minor non-conformity, that means in case of minor non-conformity, that's a partial failure. That's not a complete failure. That's a partial failure of systems, and there are possibilities that it will be caught within the organization. That means the customer dissatisfaction will not be happening directly. That means a customer, there will be almost no impact or very, very negligible impact on customer dissatisfaction. Why? Because that will be caught within the organization, and that there will be negligible or very, very less impact on the customer dissatisfaction, right? So that's a general interpretation of what minor non-conformity. Now, when we talk about OFI, which is opportunity for improvement, what do you mean by that? So when we say OFI, opportunity for improvement, it has potential to become non-conformity. Presently, it will have like a very small or almost negligible impact, right? Negligible impact within organization QMS. Like it will not result into a very, very large or very, very negligible or no impact, you can say, or no impact within the organization quality management system, but it has potential to become non-conformity. Okay. So when you talk about classification, right, there are three categorization. One is major non-conformity, the second is minor non-conformity, and the third is opportunity for improvement. What could be potential example of major non-conformity? Let's say, what is the example of what could be potential example of major non-conformity? Let's say that you received a customer complaint on the customer portal, and there are new people who have joined your organization in the quality department, or the person who is responsible is a new person and he is not aware about that quality portal. He's not aware about quality portal, but the auditor, because he is coming regularly, so he's aware about quality portal. And the person says, quality person, there is no customer complaint, but auditor says open the portal, and in the portal 1 month back, customer has updated the customer complaint in the portal and no action was taken on that. Will that be a major lapse, or it's a minor lapse or minor failure, minor non-conformity? 100%. The person who has joined the organization, there should be a proper handover, and customer has updated in the customer portal. 100% the new person who is joining, he must be aware about that. If auditor is aware about that, how does it happen that the new person is not aware about? 100%, it's a major non-conformance or major non-conformity. Why? Because this will directly result into a customer dissatisfaction. Very good, excellent. Now let me give a second example. Customer has booked a customer complaint, that people have worked on that customer complaint, but you said that I will do Pocoyoke error proofing, and but when auditor went to Gamba workplace, he found that Pocoyoke error proofing was not working, and in the dispatch, ready to dispatch, he also found some non-conforming item, because Pocoyoke was not working and that was ready to be dispatched. Will that be a minor or major? Will that be a partial failure or complete failure of system? You have said that I have taken action. Pocoyoke is already done. In the shop floor, auditor verified that Pocoyoke is not working, and in the dispatch area, he found some non-conforming part. Absolutely, it's a complete failure of system, although you have taken action, but your actions are not effective. Absolutely, it's a major non-conformity. Let me give you one more example, right? Let's say that in the audit, okay, you found there was one machine whose preventive maintenance was due on Jan, but now it is Feb, and you do not find any evidence why the preventive maintenance was not carried out, and preventive maintenance is delayed by 1 month. Preventive maintenance is delayed by 1 month, and you do not see any justification why it is delayed by 1 month. But you also see that there is a product conformity, product audit is carried out, and you found that there is no impact on the product, but 1 month delay is there with respect to preventive maintenance of that particular machine. Will that be a major non-conformity or minor non-conformance? See, the point is that because you didn't find any direct impact on the product, and it is only 1 month delayed, although you do not find any justification why the preventive maintenance was not done timely. So in that case, you can give this as, if you see there is no impact or almost no impact to customer, right? Okay, and if that has happened in only one machine, it's not a complete failure of system. You need to look at other example, other machine preventive maintenance. If only you found one machine, somehow it was not done, then definitely you can give this as minor non-conformity. Very good. Let me give you one more example. Let's say that in an audit, you found that there is one Werner caliper, okay, in the shop floor. But in that Werner caliper, the sticker is missing. Calibration done date, due date, that sticker is missing. And operator is not aware about the calibration status. Operator is not aware about the calibration status, but you were able to find the calibration report in the lab or in the standard room. You were able to find, but there is no calibration status on the Werner caliper. Will that be a major or minor non-conformity? Okay, sometimes it can be O5. See, the point is like this. Sometimes there's a very thin line between that. Okay, let's say, see, the point is like this. If you see other instruments and you found that in other instrument, the identification was there regarding the calibration status, Okay. That operator was new, but supervisor, let's say he was aware, or the calibration in charge, he says that, sir, we take monthly round and weekly round, and then if that is any identification is not done, we make sure that identification is there, and that sticker came out, this and that. This operator was new, he was not aware, this and that. In that case, you can put that as minor, or sometimes that can be put as O5 also. But here it seems more like a minor non-conformance, because it's not a complete failure of system, because you see other parts are identified. It's only that only single vernier, single case you found. Okay. Now let me give you one more example. In the shop floor, when you are visiting, the auditor see that there is a bin and that there is one identification tag which is not on the bin, it's on the floor. So there's a bin, okay, bin is there. The tag is not there on the bin. The tag has fallen on the floor, but other places you found that tags were there. What is this? Is it major, minor, or opportunity for improvement? This is like, you can put that. Sometimes, as I said, this also depends on the auditor, but it can be definitely either it could be a minor or it's fall more in the opportunity for improvement, because you found only one case where the the identification tag has fallen down. Other cases you found that, okay, yes, the tags are on the bin, but in only one case you found that, as this case. In that case, you may give suggestion that if you can use some, maybe some slot, we can use some thread to tie that in the bin. That will be a minor, that will be an opportunity for improvement, right? Let's say that in the shop floor you found that machine, that identification, all machines were clearly identified, but in one machine the identification of one machine, that paint was coming out, that every press shop PS01, PS02, in one machine you found that P was missing, S01 was there, S02 was there, all other machines were rightly identified, but in that one machine you found that there was some paint peel off and that P is missing. What is that? Minor non-conformity, major non-conformity, or O5, opposite for improvement? Absolutely, this can be a part of your opportunity for improvement, because you found all machines are okay, but because of any reason that machine, that paint peel off has happened, and in one cases, but operator was able to tell, yes sir, this is machine number so and so. You found a daily machine check sheet, you found that preventive maintenance is okay. So here, like, I gave you multiple examples so that I can clarify and I can tell you how this classification is carried out. Okay. Although, as I said, sometimes it also depends on the auditor also. Sometimes there's a thin line between them, but in generic, there's a very, very clear classification. Major non-conformist, which can result into a complete failure of the system. Customer dissatisfaction, customer complaint. Minor, which can result into a partial failure of system, which can be like caught within the organization, which may not directly impact your customer. Or positive, which has potential to become non-conformity, is negligible or no impact on the quality management system, right? But it has potential to become non-conformity. Now, what is required for major and minor? You need to take the action plan, is mandatory. In case of opportunity for improvement, action plan is not mandatory, although you can take that. It's totally optional. In case of external audit, the action plan is mandatory for both. In minor, in general, it may also vary from certification body to certification body. Within 15 days, you need to close, give the evidence, submit the evidence. In the minor, you may take up to 20 days, but generally 60 days time frame can be given for the closure, and next year, like when they will come, they can verify the physical evidence can be taken, can be seen next year. In case of minor, in case of major, the certification body auditor may decide, वो decide कर सकते हैं to do the offsite audit. That means on-site audit. That means they may come back to your organization after a month or so, and then they can see that whether you have closed those non-conformity effectively or not. Okay. So this is very, very important. As far as external auditors are concerned, they will 100% classify that non-conformity into major, minor. or opportunity for improvement. They will classify. Okay. But in case of internal audit, is it mandatory to classify? The answer is no, it is not mandatory to classify. In one organization, it happened that the internal auditors, they were doing audit of each other. And they were not giving the major or minor non-conformity, they were giving only O5, opportunity for improvement. The MR, management representative, was very frustrated. And I was consultant in that organization. He asked me, Arun sir, what should I do? I said, remove this major minor classification of O5. Just say non-conformity as non-conformity in the internal audit. You write in your SOP, standard operating procedure. आप लिख दो SOP में. We will classify non-conformity as non-conformity, irrespective of major, minor, or opportunity for improvement. The auditee, the person who is undergoing audit, he has to submit the action plan. So in that case, what happened? That company started, there was unnecessary fight, does not happen now between auditor and auditee. This is major, this is minor. Have you seen this? Yes. Write in the comment, have you seen this unnecessary fight? This is not major, this is minor. How can you say this is minor? This is not minor. This is opposite for improvement. How can you give me? Unnecessary. People are wasting their time and efforts and energy in this full fight discussion. Let the external auditor classify that into major, minor, or opposite for improvement. You can just mention non-conformity is a non-conformity in the internal audit. And if you mention this, yeah, of course, people are also partial. People are also, yes, somebody is writing, people are partial. Huh? To their friend, they will not give major, they will give only opposite for improvement. and sometimes there's unnecessary fight between auditor and auditee. They waste their time and energy. So this is what I advised, and they were very happy. They said, the MR said, management representative said, I'm very happy now people have started giving non-conformity, and then the system, is now, actually it is being improved, right? We have started improving because people have to submit the action plan. So this is optional, like, so this is what also you can do. If you want, you can also, if you have not done that, you can mention in your SOP and the external auditor cannot object. Okay. So friend, until now, are you finding this conversation useful? Whatever we have discussed, do you think that this conversation or this training is useful for you? Yeah. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So I can see many comments. So now, great support. Yeah, very useful. It's very, very important. Yes, of course. Great. So what now, we are going to do is this. I'm going to tell you the structure of writing a non-conformity and why we should know the structure of writing a correct non-conformity, because your non-conformity, if you become a part of this internal audit team, how many of you are part of internal audit team? How many of you are doing internal audit? How many of you are doing internal audit? Those who are doing, just write I am. Those who are doing, they can write I am, and those who are not doing, not yet, they can write NY. Those who are not doing, they can write NY, not yet. Many of you are not doing. Some of you are already doing. Very good. Some of you already are a certified internal auditor for IMS and GMP. Okay, that's good. Good manufacturing practice and IATF 9001. Many of you are not doing. Great. Irrespective whether you are doing audit or not, right? The good thing is that if you become a part of internal audit team, you can learn a lot. You will agree with me, right? You learn a lot. Why? Because if you go to other department, you see their documentation, you learn a lot about other department. Who knows that tomorrow you can be, today you are in quality, tomorrow you can be in production. Tomorrow you can be in supply chain. If you're a supply chain person, you can be in quality, you can be in production, right? So if you actually want to, let's say, want to rise in your career, you want to become quality head, plant head, consultant, trainer. If you have flavor of different department, that's how like it is going to help you, right? As you reach to a senior level position, it is going to help you. Okay. So yes, it is very, very important. If you get opportunity to become a auditor, you should take that opportunity. And not only that, you should also understand that how to write effective non-conformities structure. What is the effective non-conformity structure? That is what we are going to discuss, right? Are you ready, guys, for this effective non-conformity structure and how to write that? So there are, yes, let's get ready. So there are 4 different components. How many components? There are 4 different components of writing any good non-conformity. What are these 4 different components? So let us understand them one by one. इनको हम समझने का प्रयास करते हैं. Let's try to understand this, right? Oh, thanks a lot. Let's see this. What are those 4 important components? You can also take screenshot. You can also make notes. Number one is non-conformity statement. Number one is non-conformity statement, right? Or we also say this as NC statement. Number 2 is clause number. Number 3 is objective evidence. Number 4 is standard language. Although, like right in the intro audit, the number 4 is not compulsory, but in external audit, definitely number 4 is compulsory. But nowadays, I see even in the intro audit, the auditor expects that you should write number 4. That means standard language also. So one is NC statement, non-conformity statement. Second is clause number. Third is objective evidence. And fourth is standard language. So if you see non-conformity statement should be of 1 or 2 lines in general, is specific, very specific, to the point, right? And it is more like a kind of complaint, like you say, and complaint. Let's say production guy, they say that maintenance people are not working. Maintenance ka log kaam nahi kar raha. Like you give this, you say this, right? So it's more like a complaint. It's very, very specific. It's 1 or 2 lines. In general, what kind of words we use? We use this dash, which is your like clause number or the clause basically name, like not clause number, but the clause name. Generally, like for example, maintenance or the new word development. Okay, or it could be roles and responsibilities, whatever it is, dash. What are the terms you use? Is not effective. Okay, we say is not evidence, right? These are the like kind of terms. There may be more, right? But these are the some of the generic terms like which are used. So non-conformity statements is basically a specific thing which is missing in the whole scenario. It is generally of 1 or 2 lines. It is the other characteristics are it is short and sweet, right? It's not very, very long. It should not contain the evidence. It should not contain the too much evidence. So non-conformity statement is more like a kind of complaint, right? Which you do. Let's say you say total productive maintenance is not effective, or critical spare part monitoring is not effective. Critical spare part monitoring is not effective. So what is this? This is a non-conformity statement. Or personnel not aware about quality policy. Change management process is not effective. I'm giving multiple examples, right? Preservation is not effective. FIFO, first in, first out, not effectively followed. Retention of documentation is not effective. Work instruction legibility is not effective, or work the operator safety points not considered in the work instruction. So it is of one line or two line, to the point, very specific. That is non-conformity statement, right? I'll also show you the example. Clause number is basically what is the exact clause number in which this non-conformity will fall. It can be any clause number, whatever the standard you are auditing. If you are auditing ISO 9001, it will be as per 9001. If you are auditing IATF, it will be as per IATF. If you are auditing ISO 14001, it will be as per that. Let's say you say that maintenance, in which clause of IATF? 8515, 8.5.1.5. Okay. Context of the organization, let's say interested parties, in clause number 6, clause number 4.2. Okay. Like that. Tooling management, about tool life monitoring, clause number 8.5.1.6. You do not remember, like you can always refer the standard. And if you have confusion, you can refer the standard. Definitely you should refer the standard. There is no point making your mind Google. Even auditors also refer standard. You can also refer standard. Not a big deal. The only thing is that you must understand as a competent, as an internal auditor, where what thing is mentioned, and you should be able to refer the standard and identify the correct clause number. That's also one competence of internal auditor. That's also a competence of internal auditors, right? They are competent, they can identify. Now, objective evidence is your proof. Why do you say, or your evidence details, right? Like you said to your plant head, maintenance people are not working effectively. Maintenance process is not effective. Then your plant head said, why you are telling that maintenance people are not working effectively? You will give the evidence. What is that evidence? Machine number PS 02, press shop, under breakdown for this breakdown from this dated this and this spare part. It's as per critical spare part list. That XYZ part should be minimum 2 numbers, but actual you found actual in the stock is 0, and that machine is waiting for repair. Okay, and there is no like no purchase order or no order. So what do you write? What you did, right? You write the format number, you write the date, you write the observation, right? So you have written the detail, like what the generally what, if you see most of the time, like auditor also demand that. Okay, so this is what, like if you see, so like if you see, right, what you are doing, you are basically here writing the objective evidence. You are writing the objective evidence in which you are mentioning that what could be the like evidence, and here you give like observation, and you can talk about as per what standard, as per what procedure. So objective evidence is more like a proof that yes, you have found this non-conformity. Yes, you have found this non-conformity, right? So that's the meaning of objective evidence. And why do you need to give objective evidence? So that you yourself should not forget what non-conformance was given. Sometime it happened, auditee challenge you in the meeting. Have you seen this? Auditee challenge you in the meeting, they say, what is the non-conformance? And if you have not written correctly, you yourself will forget. And that's the reason you need to write that what you have seen, against what standard, what was mentioned in SOP, in which document, what is actual observation. You write that complete detail, and that is what we say, that is what we say objective evidence. Okay, that is what we say as objective evidence. So objective evidence is a proof of activity, like a court wants proof. In the similar way, you need to write that proof. It can be a 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. Here you, important thing, you mention the like SOP, against what SOP, your what's the requirement, and then you write the actual document number, name, and detail, so that you have this proof. Now, what is the standard language? So standard language is where it is written, in which clause, and in which line. Because sometimes if you see audit challenge you, kahan likha hai, where it is written, then you can give the reference, right? Write this 2 or 3 lines, two or three lines, not the complete, but can write this. These are 2 3 lines from the standard, exact standard, that here it is mentioned about FIFO in this clause number 8, 5, 6. It is mentioned about this particular activity, or clause number 7.3 talks about the awareness. Clause number 4.2, here it is written that the interested parties' needs and expectations need to be identified. In clause number 10.2, here it is being talked about, this problem solving. So where in clause number these are the lines, 1 or 2 lines, which actually talk about this particular non-conformity. So what happened in that way? The auditee will accept that, and they will also not be able to challenge you. And you also know that you have given the non-conformity not as per your mind, but as per the, not as per your wish, but as per the standard requirement. So if you see, these are the 4 different important components, the best structure of writing non-conformity. What is that? Number 1, non-conformity statement, to the point, short and sweet, very specific. It does not contain the objective evidence. It does not contain lengthy explanation. Number 2, exact clause number. Sometimes you may find that non-conformity can fall in 2 clauses, but you gave that clause which has more orientation, right? Which has more specific, which is more specific to that particular requirement. You mentioned that particular clause. Number 2, clause number, exact clause number, and you can add only 1 clause number. Number 3, objective evidence, like proof, like the way the court wants. That's number 3. Number 4, standard language. Although in intron it's not mandatory, but it's recommended nowadays. Sometimes external auditor also demand that. External auditor to likhte hi hai. They definitely write that, but they also expect that from the internal auditors also nowadays. So you write that standard language, right? Major, minor, that is, as I said, it's not mandatory in the internal audit. External audit, definitely they will be writing. So that's the framework. That's the example, right? Would you like to see one filled case study? Would you like to see one filled format so that you get more clarity? Yeah, you want to see? Okay, so let me share a simple. I'm not going to share complex one. I'm going to share the simple one, and let's see what's that. Okay. So here I'm going to share. If you can see my Excel sheet, generally this is the structure, right? What is the structure? This is a structure wherein, like, you have this audit non-conformity report. Okay, so I hope my Excel sheet is visible. Yeah, so I'll create more space. I think, yes, it is now clearly visible to you. So if you see audit non-conformity report and audit number, this number you can identify based on month and how many non-conformity, or you can have your own numbering system. It's up to you. Type of non-conformity, again, a major, minor, or 5. It is not mandatory. You can also remove this. You can also write NA not applicable if that's what you want. Type of audit, system audit, standard reference, whatever it is, or you can add ISO 9001 or any other standard also. What is important is this, like process, department, production, lead auditor, auditor, Shubham Pandey, whatever name it is, auditee, the person who is undergoing your audit date, when the audit is conducted. And if you come down, here is the main structure. Here is the main structure. What is that? Non-conformity statement. So what is that? The personnel not aware about quality policy. That's to the point. Okay, you interviewed people and you found that people are not aware about quality policy. Here you need not write a name. Here you need not write the name in the NC statement. Objective evidence, give the proof. How do you say people are not aware about quality policy? Here you give the proof. What proof? Like, for example, you give the proof. Objective evidence, Ramlal, employee code so and so, working in molding department, shift 10, not aware about quality policy. Nothing bad. If you write the name, Is it bad? No, it is not bad. It's not bad. It's not that you are targeting that person. It's only that you are identifying the non-conformity. So do not feel bad that I'm writing name. So what will happen to this person? This person will be fired. No, it's not like that. Okay. Because if you see audit is a, we say that everyone says audit is a fact-finding activity. Fact-finding activity, right? It's not a fault-finding activity. You're not finding someone fault, but it's a fact-finding. Although as people do take that as a fault, oh, this department is weak, this department is not doing good, people definitely take like that. Now if you see standard language, so what is that standard language, right? Be communicated, understood and applied. So if you see clause number, which clause? So in this clause 522, it talks about like this language is there, right? It should be communicated, understood and applied, right? So the clause number will be 522. Well, in this case, we see this non-conformity can also fall in clause number 7.3. Okay, and you can also give in that awareness, right? Because there also it talked about that people should be aware about quality policies. You can also give in that. So it's up to you, right? Sometimes it happens that the non-conformity can fall in more than one clause, but you only mention one clause. So this is how like you should give the structure of the non-conformity. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay. Great. So today we'll be as promised, like we'll be carrying out session. Yeah. Okay. So what I'll do, like I'll quickly take you to the I'll quickly talk about the complete format, but that was not our agenda. But yes, I will definitely talk about the other part also. So what happened, like once this is done, you write this ANSI statement, objective evidence, standard language. Okay, all that is your responsibility, the internal auditor responsibility or auditor responsibility, right? And then after that, whatever is the time frame, within 24 hours, 48 hours, on the same day, you give this to whom? You give this to auditee. Why you give this to auditee? So that auditee can further fill this up, right? Auditee can fill this up. Okay. So let's say that here you have written this. So auditee will fill this root cause. What's the root cause? And they can definitely use YY. Although in internal audit, YY is not compulsory, but in the external audit format nowadays, like you have to fill this YY. So let's say there was no system of communication, not communicated in the language, local language, because it was displayed in English. So that's the reason the person was not able to communicate the quality policy. Okay, interim containment action, immediate action. That person was given awareness and the quality policy was displayed in the local language at the prominent location. You give this target date, give this implementation date. And then we talk about corrective action so that it should not repeat again. What you should do so that this non-conformity should not repeat again. You say that you have added this quality policy in the daily morning meeting agenda. So in the morning meeting agenda, the first thing which head of the department will do is to recite or is to revise the quality policy in the local language. You update it in the roles and responsibilities of head of the department that every day in the morning they need to do this, right? And you also added this in your SOP, standard operating procedure. Any new person who will be joining, they should also be aware about, they need to be made aware about quality policy. And then you also add this in your weekly audits or your any internal audit system, that the internal audits or in the weekly audit or whatever is your internal systems, you also add this as a checkpoint where the awareness of people should also be verified. So corrective action is the action taken to prevent reoccurrence so that it should not happen again. And then you give this a target date, and then you can do this horizontal deployment in other area, give this target date implementation. Okay, you release this on the same day or sometime within 24 hours, auditor sign, and then you also verify after 15 days or a month time that if these closures are effective or not. You can go back to shop floor and can verify and can ask other people also that if this action, corrective action, are effectively implemented or not. And that's how you can close the non-conformity. So that's a very, very simple template which is widely used in the internal audit. You can do a bit of modification, but in general, if you see, that's the template which is basically being followed. And yes, in our internal audit training program, which is a paid offering, we give all the templates, editable templates. Majorly, we have made these templates. Most of these templates are available clause-wise, and we also give that to our people, those who are undergoing the training program or those who undergo through a training program, so that they can get more understanding. Okay, because that's the way you learn more in a structured way. Great. So, friends, today we talked about why do you need to have like a good knowledge of non-conformity. Okay, and we talked about like what is this non-conformity, what do you mean by non-conformity. So there are, let's do quick revision, right? So what is non-conformity? Something or which is not as per the standard requirement, organization own requirement, customer specific requirements, or the legal requirement. That is what we say is a non-conformity, right? A gap when exists as per these four and your actual whatever is the actual status, right? So we say is a non-conformity. Okay, and non-conformity can be classified into like majorly two. We say three area. What are those? One is major non-conformity, minor, and opportunity for improvement. What is the difference between these three? Major, there is a complete failure of system. Minor, partial failure of system, and opportunity for improvement, potential to become non-conformity. One thing which is very, very important also to here specify or to tell you, multiple minor become major. So when you have multiple minor non-conformity, let's say in one department you found there's some documentation numbering system is weak in one or two, the documents are not identified. It is same in other department, same in third department, fourth, fifth department. So it's there in 4 to 5 department. It doesn't become major. So multiple minor become major. This is important. And last year minor, if it comes again this year, even minor, that will become major. So one more thing which you should know, like, and this is more applicable from the external audit perspective. Then we discuss about what should be the structure of non-conformity. There are 4 components of writing a non-conformity. One is your NC statement, one-liner or two-liner to the point. Okay. NC clause number, non-conformity clause number. If you find more than one clause number, you need to write one most suitable clause number. Number 3 is objective evidence, like proof. Why you say it's a non-conformity, like the way the court wants the proof. In the similar way, you also mention that proof. Okay. Number 4 is your standard language, where it is mentioned. So you write the exact language, 1 or 2 lines you take from the standard, and that's how you write that. Okay. So friends, today, this way if you do, why it is important to write better non-conformity? So that because your non-conformities are read by auditors, auditee, management, external auditors, customers. So if you write bad non-conformities, you will have bad impression on them, agree or not. You know that people, if you like you write email, people form impression about you by just by reading your email. Yeah. In a similar way, whatever way you write the non-conformity, people create impression about your competence based on how you write non-conformity. So that's the reason I say it is important. It is very, very important that you must be aware about how to write better non-conformities, and with time, definitely this is very much possible. Definitely you can improve upon your competence of writing non-conformity. With practice, this is very much possible. Okay. So friend, now I would like to ask you, like, did you enjoy this program? Now we have come to end of the session, right? Did you enjoy it? If you enjoyed this workshop, if you enjoyed this program, yeah, good. Good. Very wonderful. Excellent. I love this. Very useful. More sessions should be conducted. I enjoyed. Very useful learning. This all this, Excel, all these templates are part of our paid offering. Yes, I'll talk about that. This is very useful for me. Thank you very much. 100% useful. Very well explained. Easy to grasp, easy to understand. Good. Thank you very much. Learn new things. Yeah, those are non-subject. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Okay, great. So friends, okay, thanks. I really appreciate all of you. Okay, so friends, as I